every single vehicle he gets behind the wheel of, he has won the biggest races.
Yeah, I always paid attention and still do to the dirt world, especially sprint car world. And if there's a young, talented driver coming up, then it usually gets not only my attention but plenty of others to pay attention. And so, yeah, that name was Kyle Larson.
Best riches my dad.
Kyle Larson, the wild guy.
I mean, he just stood out because of his driving style and, being able to drive a lot of different types of cars, hop in them and go fast as well as win. Very few NASCAR drivers go sprint car and midget racing and late model dirt racing and then go race, 400 or 500 miles on Sunday in a stock car and win at all of them.
Kyle Larson!
I've seen Christopher Bell do some of that. I've seen Chase Briscoe, do some of that, but none of them are doing it at the level that Kyle has. Something that Kyle made me aware of early on in our discussions when he was, coming to Hendrick. He I don't know, we were just talking about dirt racing and all the different types of racing that he does, and his Cup career, and he brought up, one thing I would love to do before I age out of my prime, is I think the way he kind of said it, or while I'm still in my prime, is to do the Indy 500. And that just always stuck with me. I mean, we've seen guys do the double, but we've never had the experience of it here at Hendrick. I never wanted to do the double. I always dreamt of doing Indy. And as soon as NASCAR and my NASCAR career took off the way it did, that seemed to always kind of be in the background for me. I mentioned it to Rick Hendrick, and at first Rick was like, I don't know about that. Doubt we would ever do that. And then, a few conversations down the road, I talked to him again about, I really think Kyle would like to do this, and you've never been to the Indianapolis 500. You sure you don't want to do this? And he started getting more and more interested the more we talked about it. And I mean, he loves Indianapolis, right? It's I think it's been something that he's always watched and really been drawn to. It just never seems to have been a reality because of his commitment to NASCAR and his schedule, and so we started talking more and more and more, and the next thing you know, he's agreeing to hey, let's pursue this. Let's find out, what team could we partner with. Obviously, it had to be a Chevrolet team. And one of the first questions that Rick said, because if anybody knows Rick, they know he's a huge car collector. So not only did he want to kind of take this leap and go compete and have Kyle drive in the Indy 500, but he wants to own the car. and so owning the car doesn't mean just owning the car for the Indy 500. It's putting this car in your collection, when the race is over. So we had those conversations, and again, it's about a team collaboration, and that's what Arrow McLaren was open to and wanted to do as well. And so I think it's now become evident to Rick that this event, it means a lot more than just just going to Indianapolis for this race. I mean, he's truly invested in it because his company is on the car, his name is on there as car owner, and this car is going to go into his collection one day, and he's all in on taking in the Indy 500 experience and what we're calling the H1100 experience. It's going to be quite a day. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and that's true with the NASCAR teams. And I think that's the same way that we look at this at Indianapolis, especially if Rick's going to be involved, if Hendrick Cars is going to be on as a sponsor. Just want to make sure that it's done at the highest level and give the whole team, but give Kyle the best opportunity, to have a great finish, maybe even win the race. And of course, having a Chevrolet tie was critical, and so we started going down the list of those Chevy teams, and certainly there were conversations between Roger Penske and Rick because they're friends, but that didn't work out, and ultimately I was able to call Zach Brown, and we've been friends for a long time, and to see if they were interested in doing this. And it happened to be good timing because I think some others were actually talking to them about possibly taking up that fifth car. So but when we do things, we try to integrate ourselves into it as much as possible, and that's what I loved about Arrow McLaren is that they wanted to do the same. So there's been a lot of back and forth where their team has come to Charlotte, come to our facilities. What can they learn to be better for IndyCar? What can we learn from them to be better with NASCAR? And so it's truly been a team effort. It's been a lot of fun to get to know a lot of people, understand how they do things, how much different it is, but also how much alike it is, because it's still racing. And yeah, I think it's made just the whole experience really fun and comfortable. A lot of work, a lot of effort. I mean, because there's tons of logistics that are going to take place in order for. It's not just Kyle going back and forth, right? It's going to be Rick and Linda Hendrick. It's going to be a camera crew because we're documenting it. It's family, it's friends, it's other crew members. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on there. But I think the most number one key thing was partnering with the right group that would allow us to be one team through this effort, and Arrow McLaren was very open to that. There's certainly a lot of nuances that are different, IndyCar versus NASCAR. There's a lot more going on in the steering wheel, a lot more adjustments inside the car, and so and just the way that they go about a test plan and making laps and getting up to speed is quite a bit different. And not to mention just the inputs that you have in the car at those speeds around Indianapolis. The speeds that you're traveling, how much faster the corner comes up. So it's to me, that adaptation that he had, and that's why I think going from sprint cars to stock cars like he does now, I think has helped him for this, because there's quite a bit of difference in the way those cars drive and the speed differences too. So I mean, this is a tough race to win, and he's got a huge learning curve, not just from now to get to race day, but on race day itself. I mean, there's just things that experience that a lot of the competitors have in the field that you can't just get overnight or in the month of May. But I think if anybody can do it, it's Kyle Larson.
One of the most dominant seasons that we have seen in recent history.
I mean, I consider him the modern day Mario Andretti, and I think doing Indy is certainly going to even put him higher up into that class or that category, because not only is he driving a lot of different cars, but he's excelling in pretty much everything, and that just hasn't been done for so many years.
At a minimum, he's top 5 for his first Indy 500 start.
And to me, Tony, I think, is certainly on that list of guys that did it. I'm not on the list. I'll be honest, I'm not. but certainly Mario and AJ, knowing what they did back in those earlier days where you could go from dirt to Indy, they did it, and they did it well, and NASCAR as well. So yeah, this is rare air. He loves racing. He's a fan of racing himself. He just happens to be a really good race car driver that can drive anything. And I think people that like racing, that are race fans, they respect that talent and ability, and they're certainly drawn to that. If you're a NASCAR fan, you might have another reason to watch the Indy 500 if you don't typically watch it. If you are going to watch the Indy 500, you're going to probably want to know what happens in the 600 that evening in Charlotte. So yeah, no doubt this is going to bring a lot of people together, and even within the industries themselves, there's going to be a lot of people from NASCAR and on race teams that are going to be following. They're already following all these races that happen on that day because it's the greatest day in racing with Monaco and Indy and the 600. But I think they're all going to be really anxious to see how does Kyle Larson do, because if you're a NASCAR, whether you're a driver in NASCAR or a team, you're rooting for him to do well because you want him to represent the sport and the drivers and the abilities and the talents to be able to go there and show them what NASCAR drivers are capable of doing. And I think that him taking on this challenge is earning the respect of the IndyCar community and that industry. And so, I think most guys in the field, they know who Kyle Larson is, that they know he's talented, but I'm sure in the back of their minds they're going, yeah, but he doesn't drive a rear engine, high downforce IndyCar around Indianapolis, and he's going to have a lot to learn. He's unique and he's passionate about it, and he does these things because he cares so much about the sport and his place within the sport and his legacy. And I think this is a big piece of that.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.